Welcome! These video courses are created as a refresher for legal research techniques for the spring semester. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact your research professor or stop by the reference desk for more information. This introductory video will cover basic techniques for researching any legal issue. Put together, the techniques serve as a roadmap that will let you find the most relevant legal resources in the shortest amount of time. Your first step, perhaps unsurprisingly, if you remember from the fall semester, is to locate a relevant secondary source. What are secondary sources? Remember that secondary sources are any form of publication that describe the law but are not actually the law. Examples include California jurisprudence, Rudder Group California practice guides, American jurisprudence, and named treatises such as Corbin on contracts. Now let's talk about how to select a good secondary source. In general, if you don't know your topic well, I advise starting with a legal encyclopedia, such as this provides a brief overview in the topic that you are interested in and will generally help ground you at the beginning. Once you know your topic or you know what practice area you're looking at, it's best to then move on to a treatise. Remember, a treatise is a secondary source that focuses on one particular area of law. How do you find a treatise? Quick note here, this video assumes that you'll be accessing these resources online. You may recall that the top legal treatises are split over a number of legal research platforms. So you shouldn't go to Lexis or Westlaw and think each one is a one-stop shop. If you do this, you'll be missing half the resources that can help you solve your legal research issue. The best way to start is to see a list of all your treatise options. One way to do that is to consult a research guide. The Loyola Law School Raines Library has a variety of research guides, including secondary sources by subject. So this can be great when you're just starting out on a general topic. Later on, you'll probably know which treatises you like best, but at the beginning, it's great to see a list so that you can consult a number of them. So for instance, here, if we are looking at an employment law issue, we can select Rudder Group, Employment Litigation. Step 2. Once you've found a relevant secondary source, you'll need to locate the portion of the secondary source that describes the relevant law. For instance, say you're looking for materials on wrongful termination. You go to the secondary source table of contents, find the relevant chapter, and read the section that looks applicable. You can also search the table of contents if you're having problems locating anything. Now you may be wondering why we advise checking the table of contents rather than to do full text searching once you have your secondary source. And the reason why we advise sort of starting with the table of contents is that often when you have a few search terms and do a full text search, you may be brought to a subtopic in the treatise that discusses the issue, but in a very light or tangential way. So you're kind of missing the main discussion. Using the table of contents is a good strategy for helping you get to the main discussion quickly and making sure you're grounded in the most fruitful area of the treatise. Step 3. Once you locate the primary source citation and read the applicable law. Remember that as you look at a secondary source, you'll see summaries of the law that apply to your case, followed by citations to the primary law. If the material described is relevant to your research issue, great. But once you find summary, your research task is not over. Instead, you should always click through to the citation to be brought directly to the case, statute, or regulation you're hoping to cite and use as authority. Step 4. Finally, you'll want to make sure that the law you have found is still good law. Once you find a relevant case or statute, you'll now consult a citator service. Lexis, Bloomberg, and Westlaw all have citator services that tell you what has happened to your case or statute since it was published. Your case could have been overruled, and your statute could have been replaced by a newer statute. Remember, your last step in legal research is always to make sure that the law you are citing is still good law. So that's it. In summary, here are the 4 key steps you need to know for efficient legal research. 1. Find a relevant secondary source. 2. Find the section or chapter that applies to your legal issue. Step 3. Locate the primary law and read the primary law. And 4. Make sure that the case or statute you are citing is still good law. So you'll use a citator service to do that. The next videos will provide more in-depth explanation on how to do these actions.